My favorite poem about getting old and going down hard is Dylan Thomas. His Rage Against the Dying of the Light. You're fighting, going down, and you know that's pretty much where I live, how I live my life. My name is Vince McIntyre, 67 years old. I was born in the west of Ireland. I'm a farmer. I do woodworking, various, a jack of all trades, you might as well call me. When I think of home, I think of the little thatched house I was born in the west of Ireland. I was born in 1945. My mother was Kathleen and my father was John. My whole life has been filled with dreams of the sun coming up on the other side of the sky, the moon in the wrong place. The whole feeling of that and the picture of my dad with the scythe, you know, going at that. That's from 2.5 years old. My fondest memory of my childhood and farming was when the words like vacation and garbage and garage and all that, the words that I didn't know what it meant. The farmer, he went down to Toronto and come back with a truckload of Italian women to work harvesting in the fields, and they were fun. They brought their half liters of wine for lunchtime and When you look at the past, we see the good parts of it, eh? And I'm telling you the good parts. In them good years where, yeah, I was depressed about stuff and thought too much about what's happened to the world and so on. Now realizing that I'm helpless, if I don't have a tree planting job, what am I going to do? I'm getting too old for it and I don't believe in it. I left home because I didn't get along with my dad, and I got as far away as possible from family because of all the tragedies associated with my childhood. And I ended up going to South America for a year, and then when I come back I went as far north as I could go. That was to Dawson City, and there was something like I was getting away from, you know, that back then I never thought I'd ever settle down, that I'd always be a traveler. You know, I felt like a drifter, a traveler. I traveled a lot around BC and just seeing what was happening. I'd go down to the coast sometimes. I worked for a hay rancher up there. That's where I first used horses in BC, was helping an old rancher put up hundreds of acres of hay. My girlfriend at the time, both of us were homeless. I was wondering where we were going to spend the winter. There was an old man in Johnson's Landing. He wanted me to get him some poles for his chicken house to build, and he knew there was nice straight cedar poles up here. So I take Amber up here and we get some poles, but in the process Amber forgets her red shoes. I had to bring her back up here to get her red shoes, so I brought my girlfriend up here, and I was just wanting to see how she felt about the place, and she was just totally amazed by the place. So from there I knew it, both of us like it here. This was in October of 1979, so we wanted to make a camp. We wanted to make it so it wasn't really visible or whatever, because it was on Crown land. This little cabin that you're looking at here was built about 7 or 8 years ago, and built it as a temporary shelter, and spent a lot of my life most of my life outside. So in the winter time I often come home cold and wet, and wanted to have a little place that I could sleep and have a stove in it, so I could have the place warm in 5 minutes or so and go to bed. My sleeping hut, I call it. When I started growing food, I come to realize that this is really important, to feed my family and my friends and people around me. I have a better understanding what's really happening, the whole idea that we have given up our power to do stuff. My parents left without second thought, their way of a self-reliant lifestyle. They didn't have a mortgage, they didn't have any of this stuff. It was hard to find money and so on. I've always believed in doing things by hand. Denial is a wonderful thing. Probably let it go a little bit too long, and when you brought me these braces, and all of a sudden I have some hope that I can fix it. Yeah. You might think that I spend a lot of time on my own, but I don't. My alone time is precious to me. Most of my connection with people is through the stuff I do. You don't succumb to your pains and aches and tiredness or whatever. You exert your willpower to do what you have to do. When all else fails, I have things that I want to do. I like stories. I like to talk to people. I'd like to visit more people. I'd like to get their stories. I'm totally curious about his story and about your story and about her story and the whole, I love stories. I've always kind of pushed myself. A weak moment can stop you if you have a real life. Anyway, I better go.